Often when you're trying to implement new technology, you'll find that people are resistant to change. This is because it can often be scary and confusing to try new tech out, and they don't really want to switch from what they know and they love and they enjoy using. So you have to do things slowly. So here are some of the ways that you can combat resistance. Firstly, when you're implementing new cybersecurity or data protection, it's a culture, it's not just one technological change, and that happens from the top down. When your managers and your board members and everyone on the top level of your company is interested in cybersecurity and they start taking data protection seriously, your employees will as well. There's no point in trying to implement it from the bottom when everyone on the top doesn't know what they're doing or doesn't understand why it's relevant. Secondly, you should be doing soft rollouts. This means that you're doing things slowly and you're allowing everyone to get on board at the same time. That way, you can make sure that any issues or resistance are dealt with at the same time so that it doesn't become a larger problem later on. Most importantly, when you come to technical implementations, it's all about showing people what it can do for them. They see tech as this foreign thing that they don't quite understand, but if they know how it makes their lives better, they're more likely to use it. Once you've got one person improving the way they work and making things better for themselves, it's often that they'll spread and they'll tell other people about it. So, showing them the benefits rather than exactly what they need to do is very important. When making technological changes, use open communication. A lot of managers act like just because they're the ones that have the decision-making power that they're the only ones that are involved. And if you don't allow open communication, it means that others feel more threatened and they're more resistant to change. However, if you involve your employees in what you're doing, why you're making changes and how it's going to make their lives better, they can then communicate with you what they need and how. It'll actually make your life easier because they were the ones that are on the ground and they're the ones who can tell you how this may or may not work in practice. Another important point to note is that you need to stand your ground. A lot of technological implementations have failed because managers have given up trying to implement them because they don't like the resistance to change. But ultimately, if you're doing something for the better, you need to keep telling them that. You need to keep standing your ground and telling them why it needs to change and what's going to happen because of it. Now, that doesn't mean that stand your ground if you're finding it's not working, then you need to make some tweaks and changes. But if you're making technical implementations and they are working and they are for the greater good, you need to explain that to them. Ultimately, what it comes down to is if you have resistance, you need to involve your employees and you need to come up with a solution rather than waiting for things to blow up. That way, you'll be able to deal with a technical implementation, get everybody on board and make it work for the better.